You didn't get into plumbing, heating, or cooling to work harder every year and still feel like you're working for free. But if you're chasing control, babysitting your team, and stuck in the business instead of building it, this episode is for you.
You cannot have control and freedom. It is impossible to have control and freedom.
That statement alone explains why so many contractors are exhausted, frustrated, and capped, even when revenue is growing.
I went from being a supervisor with 36 employees at 24 years old to dig holes for a living to exiting selling a multi-million-dollar company.
Brian didn't learn this in theory. He built a 50-employee trades business, invoicing thousands of jobs a year, and exited it.
Do you want to be right or do you want to be successful?
In this conversation, you'll learn why working harder isn't the answer, how leadership actually creates freedom, and what skills matter at each stage if you want profit, not just busyness.
The difficulty is actually what makes it pay well and worth doing.
If you're tired of spinning your wheels and want to build the business you imagined when you started, not just a job that owns you, this conversation is for you. Let's get into it. Brian, welcome to the Trade Traction Podcast at the PHCC Connect Show.
Thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is.
We we go way back.
We do. While I was waiting, I was trying to find, I have some pictures of you that I took at times that you probably wouldn't want published. Nothing bad, nothing like bad, but maybe at a board meeting or something like that.
I tell your story all the time, dude.
Do you?
I kind of miss it. I have resting a-hole face.
Yeah. Or, resting, I look like I'm asleep face.
Yes. And so on Zoom calls, we were sitting there, and all of a sudden, when it flashes to you, you made your background my face.
Yeah.
In a bad look. That was so fun, actually.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun doing all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the Trade Traction Podcast, I'm trying to help apprentices, technicians, business owners stop spinning their wheels.
Yeah.
Get things going. And you got things going on.
Yeah.
You sold your business a couple years ago.
Yeah, I sold in 2021.
You sold before me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
How has it been?
Awesome. No, I mean, I like what I do. I like what we did. Obviously, we built we had over 50 employees when I sold.
Yeah.
Invoicing about 9,000 jobs a year. So we built something I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
And it was time for me to do something else too.
Yeah.
So it's good. It all worked out how it's supposed to.
Yeah, perfect. I hear a lot of people talking negative about private equity sometimes.
Yeah.
But, who else is going to, those of us who are able to build a large organization, who else is going to buy it? Like, a lot of employees are not prepared to buy into something like that.
Not something like that. No. You're right. No, you have to have the, when you build a company like that, it's not thousands of dollars anymore. It's millions of dollars,
Exactly.
and most of us aren't walking around with that kind of pocket change. So.
Exactly. So yeah, if it goes big, and it doesn't always go big, right? When it does,
it's a grind. And one of the things I would just say for people, no matter where they're at, you said apprentices, business owners,
and technicians.
Yeah. In all this, from the time my first day as an entry-level apprentice, making $10 an hour with a shovel in my hand, I literally dug an 8 foot deep hole by hand my first day as a plumbing apprentice.
Awesome.
I think it was late '99 I think it was late '99, maybe 2000.
Okay.
Anyhow, so from there to exiting, selling a multi-million-dollar company. Lots of peaks and valleys. And, one of the things that I think we all lose sight of, it's the same as what I'm doing now. Like, there's peaks and valleys. Like, there's times where things are awesome, and then there's times where things aren't going as well as you'd like, and then they're awesome again. But when you look back over it, it's a stair step kind of a thing, But we're impatient nowadays. We want everything like yesterday, and we want more money and more time and more freedom and more control and all these things that are competing forces, and we get frustrated we can't have it all, but that's just not how it works.
Yeah. It's kind of like Bitcoin.
It is kind of like Bitcoin, yeah.
Someone I follow on Bitcoin, they're saying that the volatility is the gift.
Right.
And so the ups and downs, that's how we learn and make improvements in our businesses.
Yeah.
And that is the
well,
gift.
and the other thing is, again, for all these positions that you're talking to, if it was easy, everyone would do it, and it wouldn't pay very well.
Yes.
So
it's simple as that.
The difficulty is actually what makes it pay well.
And worth doing.
and worth doing.
You feel good about it when you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you could just wake up and make $150,000 a year as a HVAC or plumbing technician, like a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
And then it wouldn't be worth $150,000 a year anymore.
Exactly.
It'd be worth $64,000 a year or
Exactly.
$44,000 a year.
Exactly. Perfect. Okay, so I love this because I keep running into parents that think that being a plumber or electrician or whatever is so much about trenches and poop.
Yeah.
And it's like these trades are so vast that the day one you're digging an 8 feet deep trench.
Yep.
But then you end up building a business, selling to private equity, and now you're consulting and doing other things.
Yeah.
And it all started from that.
Right. Well, I mean, listen. I work with many industries now. Mostly in the trades, of course. But I work with other industries also. Every job, every industry has its crap.
Yes.
Everyone. There's not a single. And again, if it didn't, the people who buy this stuff would just do it themselves.
Yes. It's like people problems, like the managers are complaining about the people. Well, if they didn't cause trouble, then I wouldn't need you.
100%, right? In fact, one of my mentors that you'll hear me, if you're coming to my class tomorrow, you'll hear me talk about it. Bill, I was 24. So before I got into plumbing, I was in the steel business.
Okay.
Same kind of thing. Started out day one, entry level. My title was shear helper, like a shear, like it shears plates of metal.
Yeah.
Steel.
Sure, helper.
I was a helper. That was my title on my very, very first day. And then I worked my way up into process improvement and leadership roles and things like that. And one day, so I became the second shift supervisor. So I had about 36 people. I was 24. Lots of ego, not much skill. So, that perfect storm of horrific leadership. And our shift wasn't pulling its weight. Production was down, and like we weren't getting stuff done. And my boss, Bill, who's the plant manager, calls me into his office and like, the hell's going on, right? Yeah. And I'm like, Bill, I'm just as baffled as you. Like, I tell these guys every day. I tell them all the time. Like, we got to pick it up. And I'll never forget. This is like 30 years ago. I'll never forget this. Well, 28 years ago. He looked at me and he goes, you think that's the job? Like, you go tell them things that you think that's the job? And I just like got this deer in the headlights look at my face. I'm like, yeah. Is this a trick question? I think that's the job. I don't, it's the only hammer I had, right? It's the only tool I had in my toolbox, right? And he said, Brian, if telling them was the job, what do I need you for? I could tell them things.
Yes.
That's not leadership. That's not the job.
Yes.
I was like, oh. And it was like, that was the beginning of my epiphany that I didn't know anything about anything.
Yes.
I knew nothing. I knew if there was less than nothing, that's what I knew.
Yes. I had a similar experience in car sales. So I'm trying to do sales. I'm at this car dealership, and I'm just sitting there. And the manager, because no one's walking in.
Right.
And the manager brings me in, and he says, what's going on? I was waiting for someone to walk in. He's like, you think that's the job?
You think that's what we do?
He's like, look, I got you.
You think it's just a slot machine? We're just waiting we're for a pull?
He's like, look, I got you the corner lot on Aurora.
Yeah.
I got $100,000 of Sunday ads. Mm-hmm. I've got all these cars all shined up and beautiful inventory with balloons up. Yeah. Like, what else do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm like, well, what do? He's like, you get on your phone, you start calling friends and family. You start. It's called making sales. Yeah. Making sales it's in the title, making sales. Yeah, it's called work.
So anyhow, I took us on a roundabout path there, but my point was, it doesn't matter what level you're at. If you're starting out day one, or you're week 3, or you're 3 years in, or you're 17 years in, it's all about skills, building skills that are increasingly more valuable.
Yeah, at every level.
So for industries like ours, it's lucrative in the beginning because it's stuff homeowners don't want to do, business owners don't want to do, property managers don't want to do. Like, nobody wants to do this stuff because you have to learn it, right? There's laws you got to follow, and it's hard, and it takes learning tools. Yeah. So in the beginning, there's that, but then every level on top of that is building new skills that are more valuable to somebody.
Yes.
Who's willing to pay more for you to do your thing.
Yes.
And so I would just encourage people to look at it like that. Like my first job I was telling you was in the steel business. You had to know somebody to get this job. I had a friend in high school whose dad worked there. It was a Teamster job. you had to know somebody. I thought that was it. I was like, I got my job. Like I'm gonna retire here. You know, you get a 10% raise every 6 months or whatever the contract said. I'm like, they're 84 and out retirement. I'm like, this is it. I'm done.
Yeah.
And then like 2 years in, I was like, I'm bored. Like now what? Like I'm a crane operator and I'm a machine operator. I can take these big machines that take big 25,000 pound pieces of steel and make them into little tiny pieces of steel. Like I can do this for 40 years. There's gonna be more. So my point with that is we're gonna be unhappy no matter what. Right? We're gonna be unhappy if we get bored. Yes. And we're gonna be unhappy if it gets hard.
Yes.
Well, doing the hard things pays a lot better.
Yes.
So choose wisely.
I love it. Okay, so you went from that and you went back to an apprenticeship.
I went from being a supervisor with 36 employees at 24 years old, taking a 50% pay cut to dig holes for a living.
I love that so much. Like, what was the process of doing that? Because I see people facing that decision and not able to do it.
Well, for me, it was fairly simple. So in the late 90s, there was a big tariff war back in the late 90s with steel between Brazil, China, the U.S., Russia, Venezuela, the usual suspects. Yeah. And in the steel industry at that time, like if the turnover, inventory turns is like, like a good inventory turn for most businesses like 60. Yeah. Steel's like 1.5 or 3. Yeah. You buy a piece of steel, it takes forever to get here from China or Russia or wherever on a boat, and then you hold it until somebody needs it. And so you could buy something in March and not sell it until December.
Yes.
So when the tariff war started, like, you bought things really expensive in March, and then all of a sudden it was worth half as much, and steel sold by the pound. So it was worth half as much, and people started going out of business because they had no margin left. They ran out of money. And so also I just looked at the income ceiling for the path I was on, operations management in that industry. And it didn't pay as much as I wanted, quite frankly. And in the old days, this is 1999, when you used to look for a job in the newspaper. Yeah. I found an ad for a job at a company that you and I both know that said plumbers make $80,000 a year. We're hiring apprentices to learn that. And around that time, I had laid off 14 of my 36 guys in one day. Like the industry was really going. Yeah. It was really going bad. Yeah. And I was like, well, I mean, I'll have a job. I can write this out and I'll have a job, but I won't be a supervisor. I'll have some other job. And the income potential wasn't great. It wasn't $80,000 a year, that's for sure. And I was 24, and I talked to my wife, my kid's mom, my wife at the time, and I was like, if I'm going to do it, I got to do it now. The longer I wait, the harder it's going to be. So let's just do it now and be done with it. Yeah. And I literally took a 50% pay cut and went from supervising people wearing clothes like this, to going home with blisters and cramps on my hands because I dug an 8-foot hole by hand. Oh, by the way, my first day, 8 feet deep in West Seattle, where it's all sandy. Yes. Horrible digging. Yes. And the plumber mislocated it, so we had to fill that hole in and dig another one next to it the next day.
Oh my goodness! Did you have shoring?
It's
20 years ago. No one's gonna get in trouble.
Yeah. It was reasonably safe.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yes. So I'm impressed by that because you have to starting over. Sometimes is what you have to do.
Well, but then I started over again after I sold my business. Yeah. Like what I'm doing now, I started over. And by the way, I'm 5 years in, and I'm just now figuring that out. Like I'm a slow learner, what can I say?
Yes. Awesome.
It's a whole different industry, whole different world, all the mechanics are different, you know. It's hard still. Like that part's still the same.
Yes. Absolutely. Okay, so what are you doing?
So I do coaching and consulting. So there's business owners out there who are like, Kobe Bryant had 3 coaches, his whole career. Like to be your best, you got to have a coach. I do coaching for folks like that. And for folks who are not like that, who just have particular problems they want to solve, I help with that. Generally, what I help people with is either customer acquisition. Now, I'm not a marketing guy. I don't build websites. I don't do anything like that. I help people develop attractive messaging to inform their marketing, right? So coming up with, rather than saying, we've been in business for 27 years and we have all this great experience and our guys are great at customer service, which look around, every competitor says that. Yes. There's things we can say instead that are more attractive, in my opinion, based on my building my company. So I help people with customer acquisition, messaging, language, things like that. I help them develop operational and fulfillment and delivery standards that customers can actually know we're going to do a thing. An example would be same day service versus really fast service.
Yes.
One of those is definitely better than the other,
Yes.
right? Even if the fast company gets there faster than the same day service guy, the customer can it's a standard they can hold you to.
Yes.
I help people develop those things. And then on the flip side is sometimes they don't have time because they need to get their team a little further along to be able to run autonomously so they can have the time to do those things.
Right.
And I help with that as well. So I do help with like process and procedures and financial. There's lots of stuff we can't get into, but the two primary things I help with are developing the team that delivers and getting more customers. And if you have like recurring customers like our company did, keeping those customers.
Yes. That's a whole work in itself.
Yeah.
For sure. So when you talk to contractors, I'm sure that it always doesn't go so smooth.
When I talk to them?
Well, yeah, like
am I that bad at sales? Like,
no, I don't mean that. What I mean is like you tell
Brian,
people,
you're really bad at sales. It's got to be rough when you talk to those guys.
No, what I mean is you tell people the obvious conclusion and then they don't act on it. Or there's a lot of that, I imagine.
I'll tell you the biggest thing that surprised me in this transition.
Yes.
By far the biggest thing, and people listening to this, 87% of your audience is going to hate me after I say it, but I'm going to tell you the truth. The percentage of people who believe the world should operate the way they want it to is jarring.
Yes.
I got to be completely honest with you. I did not see that coming. I assumed that would be the minority, the vast minority. Like, of course, I mean, we've all worked for that guy.
Yeah.
It's just like, man, it is staggering how many people are like, yeah, that's the way I'm going to do it, though.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, you can defy gravity for so long. You know, there's Wile E. Coyote cartoons where he defies gravity for a little bit, but gravity always wins.
Yes.
And, you know, so it's, and by the way, in things I help people do or help build teams that can make decisions at the lowest possible level.
Love
okay?
it.
All right? It's at the highest possible level. This is what I learned in process improvement in the steel industry, which we carried into our plumbing business. Number one thing business owners complain about is they don't have freedom and they have to babysit everything. Okay? The way you solve that problem is by teaching people how to make decisions at the lowest possible level.
Yes. But
our industry was built on top-down jump, when I say jump, kind of leadership.
Yes.
It's just part of the DNA. It's working its way out, but it's still there. So they're not open to that idea much. Is a nice way of saying it.
Yes.
They want the freedom, but they want everybody to like shut up and do what they're told. And when I say, how I say, but just do all the things the way I would do it. But I don't want to be their babysit. But then when
why didn't you do it my way?
Why do you do it my way?
Well, the reason I asked that is because I remember Kimberly and I would always, when we had a consultant, they'd always say, "You guys are so fun to work with," and we're like, "What do you?" Well, you give us an assignment and we do it.
Right.
We're paying
you do your homework. Yeah.
You're paying us to tell us what to do. It would be stupid not to do what we learned we should do next. But now, as I am out meeting with other contractors and stuff, we run into that all the time where you talk to people and it's so obvious, but there's some ego in the way or something and they don't do it.
Well, again, in the trades, it's this kind of top-down thing is just baked into the DNA. Again, it's kind of working its way out. But also ego, like we all have an ego. It's huge. Our own ego is always our biggest challenge, right? Sure. And I would say over the last, let's say from 2013 to 2023, not even close, the easiest 10-year period in my lifetime to make money. So we didn't have to do some stuff that we're going to have to start doing again.
Yes.
It was never easier to make money than that 10-year period.
Yes. And
as that changes, which it will, and we're beginning to see the signs of it, these things, it's like a pendulum, right? As that changes and it requires to be successful, you adapt. Those that do not will be hurting.
Yes. So how do you get people to get unstuck in that? Like is it, can you help with that, or do they just have to recognize
I can help them
in the way?
I can help them identify the decision they have to make, but I can't fix it for them. So, for example, there's a couple things that questions I've developed that kind of pinpoint this. Right. Okay. One of them is, do you want to be right or do you want to be successful? Sometimes they're the same path. Most of the time they're not. And you have to make a conscious choice about that. Another one is, do you want money or do you want time? and on what time horizon. Another one is, do you want control or do you want freedom? These are very powerful forces that are opposite of each other. You cannot have control and freedom. It is impossible to have control and freedom.
Yes.
You can have 100% control and zero freedom because they call you for every decision, or you can have very little control. You can have controls in place, but you cannot control how things are done and have freedom. And ultimately, sometimes people are just like, I want both, and I'm just going to find somebody who'll help me do that. And that's why I'm like, well, I'm just not your guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't believe that's possible. We had to make a choice. We wanted freedom, and we wanted time. So we paid for more leadership to give us the time, and we built the company so we had freedom. And if I had if I wanted more money and more control, we would have built a completely different company.
Yes. Yes. I love that so much, Brian. That is so, so true. I think a lot of people start a business imagining they're going to be in control, right? Everybody's going to do it my way.
Everybody wants it to be in control because their way's better.
Yes. And so you got to battle that out. And even in your 5 years of working, you've refined that thought.
Yeah.
Those are some deep thoughts that
they're simple, but they're hard.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Someone's got to sit down and figure that out.
Well, yeah, we have to make choices
and be honest with themselves
and hold ourselves accountable when there's nobody else in the world who can hold you accountable. I mean, when you're an employee,
yes,
you can be held accountable.
Yes,
there's consequences.
Yes,
when you're the owner, you have to dig a little deeper.
Yeah, because really, the other reason you wanted to be owner is so that you can tell everybody else what to do.
Right.
But bosses need someone to tell them what to do too.
Well, and yeah.
Payroll often tells you what to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Vera, this is profound. You've learned this the hard way. This has come from the struggle.
Some I've learned the hard way. Yeah. I was blessed, again, in the steel industry. I had fantastic mentors there. Just unbelievably, people who loved me and cared about me and were patient with me and were honest with me and like, hey, dummy, you can't do this.
Right.
Those kinds of conversations. Then I got into plumbing after I got a couple years in, and I hurt my shoulder a couple years in, and I had to take like a month off. And I came into the office. I worked for a big company. There was like 68 technicians in the company I worked at, the branch I worked at. And I walked in after being on for like a month to let my shoulder rehab. I heard it digging in the rain with choring. And I walked in the office and I looked around and I was like, there's no 70-year-old plumbers.
Yes.
I love the industry, but I don't think I want to be I don't want to be in crawl spaces.
Yeah.
And we just had the Nisqually earthquake. I was in a crawl space and I got out of the crawl space and went to the truck to get parts when the earthquake happened.
Oh my goodness.
And to be honest with you, that freaked me out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was one of those crawl spaces we had to like exhale to get past like certain parts,
My first crawl space.
Yeah.
It was bid wrong. The guy never went in the crawl space, bid it, and then we get in there and we had
Yeah. So,
oh my goodness.
And I love the industry. So then I started getting into, I took a commercial sales job. And then because of my operations background, I got into operations leadership. And next thing you know, I'm a branch manager of a nationwide company. At 33, I had 70 employees or something like that at 33. I didn't know anything about financials. I didn't know anything about marketing. Again, I just happened to have some fantastic mentors at the right time when I needed it, and I would do the work. Yeah. Right? That's a through line for all the things. All the people who helped me tried to help other people, and they wouldn't do the work. And they quit offering to them.
Yeah.
I would do the work, so they kept helping me. That's magical how that happens. So all the things I've learned are either through great mentorship, and I'd say 85% of what I've learned is through great mentorship. 15% is from doing really stupid things and saying, I don't want to do that again.
Yes. That's awesome. Now, the other thing I've learned, why I see this common thing is so many people want to leave a legacy. They're looking for someone willing to learn.
Yeah.
And if you'll learn, people will just dump everything they got into you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's how it was for me.
Yeah.
All the people who were teaching me when I was in my 20s and 30s were in their 50s or 60s.
Right.
And I watched them try to help other people. And again, their dog would eat their homework or they would be like, yeah, I'll get around to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just like him and Han, and they just felt, okay, whatever. And they'd move on. They're like, I tried. I did what I thought was best.
Yeah.
Not for you. I'm not going to chase you down. I'm not going to chase you down and impart you with knowledge. Like that's not how this works.
Right.
I was hungry. I did not want to be poor. I grew up poor. I did not want to be poor. And I'll do whatever it takes to not be poor. That was my driver.
Yeah.
You know, um, so if you just start asking questions, it's a real simple thing. If you stop telling people what you think and start asking questions, you will stumble into a plethora of mentors.
Yes.
I promise you.
That needs to be a meme.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's so true, Brian. What else you got?
Well,
You're loaded for bear, man. This is awesome.
well, the reason this stuff is naturally just kind of falls out of my mouth now is because, first of all, we developed a whole leadership team for our company. Because when I sold, I only worked 3 days a week.
Yeah.
I went to work because I wanted to, not because I had to. And then after, I went to Maui for a couple months and wrote a book and all the stuff you're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
But now I've taken 5 years to hone this craft. Like, okay, what are actually the steps of teaching leadership
Right.
in our industry, in our world, where it's not like in the steel business or manufacturing where you just like walk out and see Johnny on the punch break or press break and he's just like stamping out 8,000 widgets a minute. Like that, our industry's not like that. You can't write a procedure for everything.
Yeah.
You can't write a procedure for proactivity,
Yes.
right? So, but we built a leadership team, and now how would you teach somebody how to do that? And it's taken me a lot of years to get these things dialed down to things like, do you want freedom or control, or do you want time or money, or it's taken me a while to distill these things down to like, what's really the root issue here?
Yeah.
So again, like I said, after 5 years now, it's like, okay, this is a new craft I learned, no different than I learned plumbing and sales and plumbing and leadership in plumbing. This is a new craft.
Okay. You said something to me years ago that I've never forgotten, and I repeat it often.
Damn, you're handsome. Was that it?
No, it wasn't that.
That wasn't it?
No, it wasn't that. Okay. You mentioned, we were talking about how you built your business, and you said something to the effect of, you spent 1 or 2 years beating the street.
Yep.
Not in the office.
Yeah, 3 days a week, at least 2 years. Well, most weeks 3 days a week, some weeks only 2. Yeah.
Hitting the road.
I would
Knock
park
on
downtown
doors.
Seattle I'd get there around 9:30, and I would knock on every door on Fifth Avenue, every door on Seneca, every door on
What would you say?
just introduce ourselves. Just like, we're here. We're here. We're 24/7. If you need a plumber, we're your guy.
Over and over and over.
Oh, thousands of times.
Brian, I talk to so many people that almost always the problem is scale. They sent out 1,000 postcards and no one called.
Right.
I'm like, well, no. It's maybe 10,000 postcards every day until they do call.
Okay. I'll try to do this as fast as I can. A mistake people make with marketing, messaging, customer acquisition. Like, imagine my wife and I, when I met my wife, we went through 3 phases before we got married. There was a spark when I saw her. You see my wife? I'm like, holy shit. Oh, sorry. Holy crap. Is she single, right?
Hey, we're plumbers. Yeah.
And there was curiosity.
Yes.
Then we started dating, and we went through an enlightenment dating phase where we're vetting each other to see if we're a good fit. We get married, we eliminate all alternatives. Customer acquisition is the exact same way. The sale is when they commit, they eliminate all alternatives. There's a vetting process where we help them understand if we're the right fit for them. The thing that we all miss in the beginning is that curiosity spark. We jump in wholeheartedly into the enlightenment, the vetting process.
Yes.
Here's how awesome I am, and here's all the things you should care about and whatever.
Yeah.
And we never spark that curiosity, so the customer never cares.
Yes.
You don't solve that problem, you could send out 400,000 postcards, and it ain't going to matter. It's just a numbers game of who you come across who has a problem at that moment. If you can figure out how to instill curiosity and get them to go, I want to know more. Just like it happened with my wife, if you solve that problem, it takes less reps.
Yes.
But you can't say, we've been in business 27 years and expect curiosity. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares about that.
Nobody cares. I was working with someone that ultimately failed. They had no unique selling proposition. They were just the same as everybody else.
But even if you have those, you have to be able to communicate it in a way to spark curiosity, not to convince, but to attract.
Yes.
If you're trying to convince in your marketing and your cold outreach, good luck to you.
It won't work.
It won't work.
Yeah, no, the number doesn't even matter.
But I will tell you, we learned that through thousands of reps of like at some point going, what the hell are we doing wrong?
Yes.
And then finally going, wait a second, I don't care about anybody else's business unless it affects me. All I care about is what's in it for me.
Right.
Hey, what if we tried talking about what's in it for them?
Yes.
And then what do you know? We started getting curiosity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Curiosity. I love it. We could go on and on, but we don't
could.
have time.
Oh, man,
You're speaking tomorrow.
I am twice. Yeah.
And what's your subject?
This is leadership stuff, building a team that,
Okay.
the morning session is about proactively developing a team that can do awesome things without you there. Answering the question, why don't my employees get it? That's like the thing we're dealing with.
Awesome.
And then in the afternoon, it's more when you're in it and you got to get out of it, like it's more reactive. So the afternoon is more reactive, the morning one's more proactive.
Awesome. And then how do people find you? If they want more of you?
Provengrowthguide.com.
Provengrowthguide.com.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep. Or I'm easy to find.
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah.
And all the usual places.
Awesome. Brian, thanks so much.
Great to see you, brother.
You too.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. If this conversation hit home, here's the truth. Nothing changes unless you put yourself in rooms with contractors who are actually building profitable businesses. That's why I want to personally invite you to PHCC Connect, happening October 19th through 22nd in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This is where plumbing, heating, and cooling contractors come together to learn what's working right now, connect with people who get it, and stop trying to figure everything out alone. And if you're not already involved, join your local PHCC chapter. The fastest way to grow is learning from contractors who've already been where you are and are willing to help. Thanks for listening to the Trade Traction Podcast Roadshow. Keep building skills, keep making better decisions, and keep moving toward the business you actually want.